Hey, what's up, everyone? We're here for day 3, the final qualifying day of GenCon. This is the last vintage preliminary. I'm already qualified, but I'm just here to farm some prize wall tickets and block other people from making the prelim, or making the finals. So today I'm doing something that I basically never do in vintage, which is play fair. Cyrus Corman Gill said it best of, imagine putting Black Lotus in your deck to cast Tarmogoyf, and I generally agree with him. But this is a big part of vintage, and I think the deck is very good, and it's something that I just haven't featured on my channel before. So I figure we should put some work into it and do something a little different here. This is also just like a rock solid strategy. I just want like a 3-1 to make some money off the prize wall. That's all I need. This deck can definitely 4-0. It has all the tools to beat everything, and I'm ready to just play fair today. So what this deck does is it just stays alive long enough until it has so many cards that the opponent can't do anything. You just grind everyone into dirt. So you'll notice draw a card, 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 draw lots of cards, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card. Like, draw a card. All this deck does is draw cards. That's why it's called Xerox. Like, that was the name given to it many years ago in vintage, because it's like a copy machine, because every card does basically the same thing and every game plays out basically the same way, which is you answer your opponent early on and then you pull ahead on cards in the late game and you win with whatever's left over. You'll notice there's not a lot of like win conditions in the deck. There's like the Tarmogoyfs, the Dreadhorde Arcanist, and Oko. Basically, that's it. There's like 5 actual ways to make your opponent dead. And I've added one more. The stock list that's been doing well lately has 1 Gilded Goose, and that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's probably very smart. Whoever built the deck, I'm sure, thought about it harder than I did. But it doesn't make sense to me just coming out of nowhere. If I'm going to play a 1-of, then I want it to be something that smashes. And Nimble Obstructionist is just a fun little tech card that's been emerging lately in response to Doomsday. You can cycle Nimble Obstructionist to basically get a stifle, counter target activated or triggered ability. And because it's a cycle, counter spells don't affect it. They would have to stifle you back to stifle your stifle. They can't force of will this activated ability. So when your Doomsday opponent goes all in on that Thassa's Oracle with no cards in their deck and you stifle their their win the game trigger, then they just lose instead because they have no cards in their deck. And I've lost to Doomsday in both of the other 2 prelims, and I have no problem using this free roll today to play some spicy tech. You'll notice 3 Pyroblast in the main deck. This is built to beat up on combo decks and blue mirrors. And then out of the sideboard, we're just 6 cards for Dredge, 4 cards for Shops, even more for PO and Artifact decks. So you got Oops and 2 more Pyroblasts, plus some Shattering Sprees, more Lightning Bolt. Like that. This is just a bunch of great cards that draw more cards in the main deck, and a sideboard full of bangers that shut down opponents who are trying to attack you without using the stack. So let's draw some cards. That's all there is to it. Stay alive and draw cards. Let's hope to do a lot of both today. Okay, we're here for round 1, and we're on the play, and we have this completely unremarkable hand. Like, I think we need to do better than this. Like, none of the hands out of this deck are going to explode, but this hand actually doesn't do anything till turn 3. Alright, this one has a turn 2 play and a sweet opening line as well. I'm going to tuck the Volcanic Island because I'm just going to fetch it anyway. Renin 6 is a nice one. There's not a lot of answers in Vintage that line up with it very well. I'm not sure who figured out that this card is Vintage playable. Like, obviously it's banned in Legacy, great in Modern, but it might have been Matt Murray, Chubby Rain, but the card is very good, and I'm glad it's in my deck. Let's see what blue spell we get to counter. It's a relief to see the polluted delta when we kept this Pyroblast hand. They could have easily gone Bazaar or Workshop, and our hand becomes a whole lot worse. Sensei's top. Alright, this might be PO with a slow hand. It could just be some random control deck. Alright, I'm just going to make my land drop and pass again. Next turn, I can cast Ren with Pyroblast backup. Or I can just hold up Pyroblast and represent something else this turn as well. And if we get into a fight this turn and I use my Pyroblast, I can just jam Oko. So Oko is more powerful on this empty board than Ren is by a lot. Like, Ren will get its value eventually, but Oko is a snowball effect. Like, over time, Oko does more and more and gets better and better. Lavinia. Alright, so there's a good chance we're playing against Paradoxical Outcome. That went to the graveyard very quickly. I guess I could Mystic Sanctuary and put Pyroblast on top here. I don't think I want to make that move yet. I don't want to Elk their Sensei's top. Like, this hand came out pretty slow, and I don't want to give them a 3/3 to beat down with. If they flip their top in response, I wouldn't even care about that. But unless they've been slow rolling a bunch of Moxes, or just slow rolling Ancestral Recall, fuck. Maybe I played that last turn poorly. Maybe I should have been preordaining. Like, I could have fetched Mystic Sanctuary, preordained, guarantee a Pyroblast in hand, and then played for a longer game there. Maybe that was a mistake. I'm not, honestly not sure. But stuff like Lavinia is not going to matter at this point. I have Oko down, so then you just start doing broken stuff. I guess there's some world where they're not even PO, they're just some sort of like Esper Hate Bears deck, but I don't think a deck like that would play Sensei's top. Or like Esper Control. I hope they are Esper Control. That matchup sounds very easy. Oh, they're going with the second Lavinia. Alright. Oops. I hope they like food. Can we get a shame concession? Nope, they want to play it out. Alright, fair enough. That is their right. Dak Faden's a hell of a card. So I guess the question is, do I steal my food back, or do I make them pop their top? I'm not going to plus stack here. I guess I'll just take my food back. That makes Academy worse. They can't pick this up with PO because it's a token. PO does smartly restrict non-token permanents. But this Lavinia is going to shut down most of the things they could do that we wouldn't like this turn. Haha! Stone Rain. So they could like PO for 2 cards right now, like tap the top, PO. But they can't play out any Moxen because they'll get countered. I do feel like I've kind of played this game a little balls to the wall, and I should have been a little, like, prioritized getting interaction in my hand before just slamming onto the board. I got a little lucky that they gave me this Lavinia. Top, bottom. Yeah, they have to answer Lavinia before they do anything else. Scroll for repeal, probably. Just looking for an answer to Lavinia, would be my guess. Taking their time to think about it. If they're a Teferi build of the deck, they won't even have a repeal. Okay, Brainstorm is not an exciting merchant scroll. Dreadhorde Arcanist is pretty good, but I don't need it. I actually don't need any of this stuff. That one's pretty good. A reasonable magic card, I would say. I'm going to play Ren and regrow a land so I can plus DAC with a pretty easy discard. Okay, so I just discard the 2 lands. I could discard Land Lotus. Is hitting a land drop better than having Black Lotus in this spot? It might be. Or I can just take my time. Yeah, I'm just going to take my time on this Preordain. I have the Flusterstorm now. I have a clock. I guess I could crack Lotus now and Preordain. I have a lot of blue things that could... Alright. I am just going to do that now, actually. Whatever. With Nimble Obstruction is not what I'm looking for. Okay. I have not made a land drop yet. And there's Treasure Cruise. Alright, now we're doing it. 1, 2, 3. I can do this better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's no Snapcaster Mage, but there is a Dreadhorde Arcanist. Alright, that worked out pretty well. We don't have a blue card to go with the Force of Will, which kind of sucks. End step Brainstorm. It's generally not the right time to do that. because I explain this a lot, but if you're new, the point of brainstorm is to change your hand. It's not to like speed up what you might have access to the next couple turns. Like an end-step brainstorm where you have no way to shuffle or get rid of those cards. Like you draw 3 cards, you put 2 back. Okay, they did have a shuffle available. I take it back. That's allowed. So if they didn't have a shuffle, brainstorm, you draw 3 cards, you get access to the best cards that you would have had over the next 3 turns, but you have to put 2 stinkers back. But if you don't have a way to shuffle your deck, you just have to deal with those stinkers, work your way through them. Oops. I hope that's what they vamped for. Lavinia. So a lot of the times if you need to change your hand, it's better to go untap, get to your main phase, draw your card per turn, and then brainstorm. You get to see an extra card that way, and it maximizes your ability to shuffle your deck. If they just had Pan Tutor, though, that's a perfectly fine play. Alright, so it looks like we are playing against some sort of outcome deck. We didn't see an outcome, but they showed us the black tutors, vampiric tutor specifically. Like, control decks generally don't want vampiric tutor because it's it's card negative, and like you spend a card in your hand and it just changes your next draw step. It doesn't even replace itself. So generally a deck that's willing to throw away card advantage like that is one that doesn't need it if it's just going to win with its more powerful cards. Alright, Nimble Obstructionist. Sorry, buddy. This is not the matchup you're for. Yeah, I think just the 2 oofs and the additional red blasts are going to come in. I wonder if I'm supposed to cut a Mox because I'm bringing in oofs, and this deck isn't super like Mox dependent anyway. I've had people bring in Shattering Spree against me too, as when I'm playing PO, and it's usually pretty good. So maybe I do want like one of those. If you even just like kill 2 Mox in, it's pretty good. Alright, what's not so good? Red and 6 can be a little slow in this sort of matchup. I like the engine it provides at some point, but it's not really plan A or B here. Yeah, I'll cut a Mox, whatever. The green one, that is the worst one. That might be a sin. If you're a Xerox expert, tell me how bad that was in the comments, but I think it's a defensible thing here. It does slow down my potential for having a turn 2 oof. This hand is not exciting. Yeah, I'm gonna mulligan it. Alright, this one is better. Yeah, so we have cantrip, a little bit of protection, and a threat to stick, all on turn 1. Oh, now they know my secrets. So I could have misstepped that, but I would rather, like, if they just go like Mox, 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 PO here, I lose. But I would rather let them see what I'm working with versus let them resolve Ancestral Recall if I misstep just this wrong thing. Because PO a lot of the times has to board down on its combo in game 2 and 3 against this sort of deck, because trying to resolve a 4-mana blue spell against the deck with 5 Pyroblasts is a mistake. So they normally have to slow down and try to play a control game themselves. I wonder if I'm supposed to just Wasteland here. Drawing the Force of Will certainly makes that a lot more interesting. Like a PO deck that just doesn't do anything on turn 1, it's like a Taxian Probe land go. Ripping off some of their play. Alright, look. Rewarded for letting them have their Gitaxian Probe. And we top decked Force of Will, so hell yeah. I guess I could just play Dreadhorde Arcanist right now. I think I should do that. Because next turn I can preordain, attack, immediately preordain again. It's better to be on board than not be on board. I think that's a pretty safe, true thing to do. True thing to say. The one consideration would have been waiting a turn so I could use all my Lotus mana, like preordain, get something going, and then use the Volcanic Island for red. But I'm smelling weakness out of the opponent, so I'm fine pushing the envelope here. Maybe we'll just draw Ancestral Recall and win on the spot. Alright, Force of Will was a great draw there. Or just like any blue card to go with our Force of Will. Alright, I don't care about that because I can just attack and cast that again. That was a freebie. Alright, so I want to... I'm leaving both of these on top. The decision was, would I rather have Preordain in my hand, so if I have to force something, I can force pitch Preordain and leave another force in hand? And my decision was no, because Preordain is way better on the stack than it is in Exile when I have this Dreadhorde Arcanist. It's worth seeing up to 6 cards and drawing 2, which is way better than just like having a Force of Will without a blue card to pair with it in hand. So if they Lavinia here, I think I will force. Because if they fight back on this, then I can just Pyroblast it and play. But if I wait and Pyroblast it and play, and then they force that, I can't force back. That also, if I played the Pyroblast, it means that I can't Preordain now. Alright, so I'm going to fetch before I attack, because Preordain, if I top the Preordain, I still want to be able to cast Pyroblast. You generally want to fetch before you Preordain. And you want to fetch after you Brainstorm or Ponder. That's like the big difference. Yeah, like the one punish of that is that I had to fetch red, and we drew a green card. But I will find my way through this, I hope. Because any cantrip is just bananas with Dreadhorde in play. Any fetch land gets this beefy Tarmogoyf into play, 5/6. That'll end the game pretty quick, and I still have Pyroblast back up. They found a Mox, finally. Alright, Mentor is a nightmare. That's how PO beats us. Like, they just have a better creature. They only play the one. But this could get ugly. Boarded out my lightning bolts. Maybe I'm supposed to leave one in for Mentor, or maybe I'm just supposed to try to outmuscle it. Like if I find a green source here, then I'm going to have the biggest thing on the board. And they're down to 1 card. So this is pretty reasonable as far as mentors go. Alright, that's bad news though. Good news is we're unlikely to die quickly with this double Pyroblast hand, but we do need to get this Tarmogoyf into play and start attacking with it. I bet this Mentor was in the opener. Like, that's why they slow-rolled these Moxes so long. That's why they kept the hand. Love seeing a land drop when they have Mentor. Alright, so we navigated a turn against Mentor. It made no additional monks. Guess I didn't need to counter that. I could have just blasted it when I cared about it. Come on, Greenland. Oh, come on, Ancestral Recall. Let's be serious here. My wishes are too small. We're playing Vintage. Yeah, that card will be great when I find the 3rd land. And if Mentor attacks with Monk, it means they have a spell. If Mentor attacks alone, it could just be a bluff. But it's not a bluff I can afford to call. Alright. They're being very honest, saying I don't have anything. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Alright. So they pass the turn without playing anything. So that means they either have a counterspell or a land. So, or they just didn't want to jam their, like, PO or whatever into Pyroblast mana. I think I have to make this move here. Just hope that they bricked. If they PO in response, that's going to suck real hard. Alright, they did nothing in response. That's not so bad. Okay, so I can get the Misty and the Ponder. Alright, so I'm just going to pass the turn here. I'm going to hold up Pyroblast again. I really want to fetch green with this, but not as much as I want to not lose the game on the spot. So next turn I can just take all the actions I want to take with Pyroblast backup. And even if I have to fetch red with this, it's not a huge deal, because the Ponder plus Dreadhorde now draws tons of stuff. Merchant Scroll. Alright, I'm going to counter that. The reason being that, like, normally it's like pretty fine to let Merchant Scroll resolve and just counter what they get with it with a Pyroblast, because you know it's going to be blue. But because Mentor is here, that changes the math a lot. Like, if I let them get another thing and just counter that, then they get another Monk and another Prowess trigger out of the deal. Their Ancestral's already in the graveyard. But even PO is really good. Like, that's good for at least 3 triggers, plus whatever it draws. I should definitely have at least one lightning bolt in the deck still. Like if there is a game 3, I'll bring one back in out of respect for Mentor. Wow. Why didn't they attack? That's so strange. That was a pretty safe attack. Like there's nothing I can do to them there. I guess that means their blocks are a lot better. Ooh, Dak Faden. Dak even gets me green mana here. This will restrict their POs a little bit if they draw one, if they even have any still in the deck. I usually leave in like 2, just in case I get a window to pop it off. I think they've played pretty clearly that their card in hand is a land, though. So I could attack to get another Ponder off, but I don't think I want to do that. Like, if they brick on a spell again, and they want to kill Dak, they're going to lose a monk to do it. Like, I don't want to just give them a wide open. They've been really conservative with their attacks for some reason. When like getting the game over with Mentor is their best play here. Uh-oh. They're in some trouble. Maybe I should have played Narset instead of Dak. Why was I so excited to see Dak? Well, if there is a next turn, I'm going to play Narset and Tarmogoyf. Yeah, I think that was just a bad sequence. Like, Narset, I should have put Narset into play. Because all their best outs involve drawing cards, and Narset stops them from doing that, so... Big punt. I think I just, like, tunnel visioned on, like, my hand is not castable, and then got excited to see the Dak on top, but, like, my hand was totally castable. I hope they did not find a Snapcaster Mage. Snap Ancestral here would be pretty much lights out. Alright, let's see what they got. I hope it's not outcome. I hope it's just nothing. Just last card in hand, no good. I can F6 though. Like, it's clear I don't have anything, or I would have played my spell already. So if I were the opponent right now, and I had PO, I would pick up Mentor with it. Because I think the extra card is worth more than the 4 damage this turn. One at Dak, one at me. I'm definitely not saving the damage on me. I guess the question is, do I think Dak is better than Dreadhorde Arcanist right now? And I think the answer is no. So I'm drawing a land, fetch land. So I think I want to strip mine their red. Like, what card would still be in their hand that they haven't cast yet? And Pyroblast is like the top of that list. They floated blue, not red. Alright, let's just move to combat and empty that pool. Like, Flusterstorm doesn't affect my hand. I think this blocker is worth more than a Ponder right now. Like, just throwing away my Dreadhorde Arcanist when it could save me some life points. So I can make my land drop to play around Spell Pierce. Brainstorm and Ancestor are already in the graveyard, so I don't know what they could have had there to mess with me. So I'll grab this Mind Break Trap, just in case they decide to combo me. Here's my hand. If they're patient, they can definitely beat my board. Though, the Narset is like real pressure. They're going to have to shove some monks into the red zone to deal with Narset. Like, they really don't want me to get a second activation off of that. What is this? This is repeal on my Mox? What could they do here? Yeah, if it was repeal, waiting until their turn and just repealing Tarmogoyf is a much better play. Either that or they're just coffee housing me and they just have nothing. Yeah, I think if they had repeal, they would have done it last turn to pick up their Mox. They get an extra card and they get 2 extra Mentor triggers. We get something that costs a bunch of mana. Is this Tinker? Oh, it's a fairy. Alright. So Teferi can bounce Tarmogoyf, and then they attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Not dead yet. I'm not even sure what I'm drawing towards. Like, without lightning bolts in my deck to clear this Mentor, like, I don't have like Blazing Volley or Electrickery or anything like that. Let's see if they just push face or if they respect Narset. Ooh. Narset's a lot better than Dreadhorde Arcanist right now. That was a really soft attack. They've been playing really conservatively with their aggression, and I don't understand why. I would be so dead if these monks had just been chunking in every turn. They also just crossed the 5-minute threshold over there, so here on Magic Online, that's a viable win con. I guess I could like Wrenn and 6 minus, second Wrenn and 6 minus to kill a Mentor. Yeah, I mean, clearly Treasure Cruise is what I want here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey, Ren and 6 be damned. I need to draw cards here. Oof, Fluster. Well, I want Tarmogoyf. I want Ren to pick off one of these monks. I want to kill a monk. I don't even care about Teferi. And I'm not going to Gataxian Probe because the card right now is worth a lot less than 2 life is. One, two, three, 4. And if they're blank on spells, like this Tarmogoyf is actually just holding the line. I would have spewed some monks to clear Narset, like for sure. Outcome and Flusterstorm. Yeah, I definitely would have spewed monks to clear Narset, if that's what's going on in my hand. Oh wow, they scooped it up. Maybe it's because of the clock, but yeah, I should have been dead to this Mentor a long time ago. If you have this card in play, just attack. Make your opponent dead. I should not have won that game. But I'll take it. And the important lesson learned of leave in Lightning Bolt, because Monastery Mentor and Planeswalkers are going to be in their deck. Here we are for round 2. I'm on the draw, and I'm going to keep this hand. No idea what my opponent's on. I don't recognize their name or anything. So we're just working on no information. But this hand has a cantrip, a point of interaction, a couple of lands, and some planeswalkers, which, I mean, short of like a Force of Will or Ancestral Recall, I'm not sure what else you'd want from this deck we've chosen to play. Uh-oh. Bad news bears, team. The deck that does this is Dark Petition Storm, and that's a very bad matchup for us. We are the Xerox deck full of Pyroblast is phenomenal against Paradoxical Outcome Storm and Paradoxical Outcome in general, but it's terrible against Dark Petition. And the reason is that all of their ways to win the game are all their tutors and rituals are black, not blue, and they play main deck Defense Grid, which just wrecks our face. Alright, Force of Will, nice of you to show up. I don't think we're getting another turn. Yeah, I just bottomed. I'm looking for a Mox. Like, there might be a world where we're able to, like, Mox into Dak and steal one of their mana sources. Alright, so they're going to get Bolus to Citadel here. And we just gotta hope they brick. Right, they made one land drop. Oh, there's Necro. So now they can just exile top card of their deck at will. I've never seen this art before. I thought that was Dark Petition when it went on this deck. Oh, they got a Time Walk too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Durest. Yes, there is like some theoretical out where oh, never mind. They had the tendrils. I was going to say there's some theoretical out where they run out of life points with Necro and Citadel, but I mean, it's pretty low likelihood. Alright, this matchup's bad, but sideboard will help. Alright, so Shattering Spree is actually pretty good. Oof is pretty good. They need that mana. Pyroblast is not very good. Lightning Bolt doesn't do anything. Alright, so these bolts are coming out. These cards are coming in. Nimble Obstructionist can hit the Tendrils trigger even through a defense grid, so that's kind of sweet. Alright, Ren and 6, not quite what I'm looking for here. All of these other interactive spells are good. Like, Pyroblast isn't dead. I don't think I want to cut the ones I have, but I don't want to add more either. Their deck does kind of care about the graveyard. Like, Dark Petition has Spell Mastery. So I'll put this in the maybe pile. We gotta figure out what the cuts are if we're doing that, though. Maybe Ren and 6 is just not tenable in this matchup. Like, spending 2 mana to regrow a land is not what we need to be doing. So we've got to cut 3 more cards if we want the ley lines. And Oko is also really slow, but I'm running out of win conditions. But I guess that doesn't really matter. Like, my job is to stay alive. And that's about it. So I think I'm almost out of cuts that I'd be willing to make. I mean, Cruise and Dig are slow to get going, but that's how we take over in a late game, or a mid game, like if we survive the first wave. Alright, I am gonna cut one of these. Which one? Probably Cruise. It's just a less powerful card. Alright, here's my plan. Let's hope it works. This hand has a Force of Will. That's about all it's doing, though. Whatever, I have Force of Will. Can't really reasonably hope for better, I think. Dak Faden is a nice one to have around too, because we have these 4 ley lines in the deck that didn't happen. So Dak can turn ley lines into actual cards. And I am going to preordain on turn 1. I don't think I need to hold up Pyroblast. I don't want more of those sort of things. Yeah, I have not played against Dark Petition Storm on Magic Online in a very long time, and it's normally a great matchup. Paradoxical Outcome just dumpsters Dark Petition Storm. Outcome has a faster Goldfish, and it has Force of Will. But it's a nice little rock, paper, scissors. Xerox beats PO, which beats DPS, which beats Xerox. And unfortunately, we are rock and our opponent is paper today. Bummer. Alright, I mean, I'm not going to force this. That just means they get 2 cards instead of 1. So they probably just take force anyway. Unless they can beat force, then they take preordain. Alright, see you later, force. Preordain, save me. Oh my god. I hope I get one more turn. Please let me obstruct. Like, if they play defense grid and pass the turn, I'm going to be so happy. Alright, duress can't take obstructionist. Wob, 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 wob. I wonder how they win through an obstructionist. Like, if I just hold up 3 mana the rest of the game, is there anything they can do? I don't know if they play Thoughtseize. I guess if they go up right now and I lose, that would beat me. Knowing about obstructionist certainly makes it a whole lot worse. I mean, I'm going to take my targets where I can get them. I don't think I can afford to hold out for an Ancestral Recall. And luckily we spiked the Pyroblast anyway, so if that was bait, we're going to get through it. Alright, this one I'm going to let resolve. I want to hold up Nimble Obstructionist. If I can. If they have Ancestral after this, I am going to Pyroblast that. Top, bottom. I'm not going to cast this thing. I don't need a 3-1 beater. I need a Stifle. Ooh. They didn't make a land drop last turn. Did I cut all my Wrens? I think I did. Yeah, they're all gone. So there's no way to regrow that, but I do play 3 Wastelands and a Streamline. Something's happening. Cabal Ritual. Black Lotus. Defense Grid. Okay. That's what this is for. So if they can Tinker Blightsteel here, then I'm in trouble. Yogg-Will. Okay. So they can duress me again, but that doesn't do anything. I can't cast the Pyroblast anyway. Unless this is just like a value, because like all they can really do is probe and preordain twice. Yeah, this is just like a value will. Storm, 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 storm. Let's see a bottom, bottom. Don't find anything good. Dark Petition Storm is actually my other choice to play today. I decided to go with Xerox, but DPS is a nice one. Alright, so Vamp Tutor is insane. If they have a Blightsteel, they can tinker for it. But, like, I'm not sure if Bolus's Citadel does a whole lot here. I mean, the card's insane, but they are kind of blowing their load here. And if they Vamp Tutor for something, then preordain to put it in their hand, they have to sack the defense grid to tinker. Like, if they get tinker, that is. I guess they could just get Ancestral. So if they do tinker for Blightsteel, I'll cycle Obstructionist at end of turn just for cycling and hope to find a DAC. Time Twister. Bummer. Okay. That's a good one. Can't blast it. Okay. Obstructionist is shuffled in. I unfortunately did not draw anything helpful here. Gotta hope that they brick too. Because I can cast Force of Will if I had one. Alright. Now they know I can't do anything. Just gotta hope that their wheel was worse than mine. Taking Preordain makes me think they just don't care. Because that's not the scariest card in my hand. Oh no. Demonic Tutor for Tendrils and then I lose. The Obstructionist was so good for so long. But alas, unable to obstruct them when it mattered. Yeah, that's a really bad matchup, and we just saw why. Like, they have so many disruptive elements, they have defense grid, they're so fast, like they don't really let you set up. So, GG's opponent. Tough loss to a tough matchup. So I'm here for round 3, but it looks like my opponent isn't. If you look at the clock, they're about 45 seconds away from getting a match loss to inactivity. So if they show up in the next 30 seconds, I'll start recording, but otherwise, I'll see you in round 4. Oh, they're past the 15-minute mark, but they didn't lose, so either they changed the timeout restrictions, or I'm glitching somehow. I'm going to try to figure this out. Hopefully we get some more video. Yep, just rebooted Moto. Looks like they're just not here. Well, my opponent did in fact time out. Sorry we didn't get any gameplay, but scoreboard. I'll take it. See you next round. And we're here for round 4. We have an opponent this time. This hand has counterspells and planeswalkers, so I'm going to keep it. That's basically what our deck is. This hand is very bad against Dredge, and it's pretty bad against Shops, but oh. I don't like that they just went Wasteland Go either. Let's draw a Fetch Land or a Mox. A Mox that casts Ren and 6 would be insane. So this makes... I don't know, I don't think Shops could keep a hand that just does nothing. So it could be... Xerox Mirror. Okay. Okay. Needed that. So now I can like... Oh, they are Shops. Alright. What's the play? Foundry Inspector. don't think that's the card that I Force of Will. This Flusterstorm is a free pitch, though, because Chops doesn't have spells. I think I have to fetch, play Ren, plus right away. Because I'm going to get wasted no matter what, I might as well get something out of it. I'm still holding up the Force of Will. They can attack Ren once. They're in kind of an interesting spot of like, do they even want to waste me now that they know that this Ren is just going to buy it back? But if they don't do it, okay, they did do it. This deck is looming. Shit, they had another one. Alright, fuck. Let's see if Inspector respects Ren or if they just try to get the game over. Yeah, alright. That is the right play. Lightning Bolt would be a phenomenal draw here. Lodestone Golem? Nah. That's not one that I can reasonably race. Alright, choice it again. Alright, I'm gonna get back Volcanic Island and play my fetch land, because this buys me another turn if they have another Waster Strip in hand. Mostly just gotta hope they're out of bangers here. Alright, to pass the turn. I like that. Ooh, I like Black Lotus quite a lot. So I can go land, pay 1 for Lotus, pay 4 for Dax, steal this. Okay. Drop, bulk, pay 1 for Lotus, and then blue, 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 red, Dak. Alright, now I'm suddenly ahead. Because now they're under Spear, and I have their Foundry. Factory can pick off Dak, unfortunately, but I can attack, Time Walk, Marset. Or they can cast Golos or some giant shit. Okay. That's actually preferable to me. I would like a turn of activating Dak. Though this 5/5 is going to be tough to beat. Easy discard Pyroblast and this fetch land. No attacks. This has protection from multicolor, so Dak can't steal it. I could steal their Sapphire. Or I could just plus with Dak. I could Gush, then plus with Dak. What am I looking for here? Tarmogoyf is good. Oko doesn't help. It's basically just Tarmogoyf, really, that can handle a 5/5. Or like double bolt, but that's going to be tough with Spear in play. So if I'm gonna Gush anyway, I might want to dig first. No, I don't think that makes sense. Alright, I'm gonna float red, blue. And I'll use the blue to gush. Because I'm looking for this double bolt. Wasteland Oko. Okay, so Oko's pretty expensive with this sphere in play. I might have messed this up. I'm willing to believe that. I could just spew the deck and take the Sapphire and try to get ahead on mana. But what does that even help? If I take the Sapphire and elk it, that's a 2-turn path to answering this thing. Alright, I'm gonna dig through time, and then I can make a decision about Dak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This like Tarmogoyf's also really good. It's Tarmogoyf Bolt are the things I'm looking for. Alright, that was none of the above. Ren is not super helpful. I'm going to be tapping out a lot, so I don't think I can have Force of Will. Or I guess I can get one of them, but it's not going to be super useful. Alright, I think I do have to plus Dak looking for Tarmogoyf. Right, Mindbreak Trap not helpful. And I have a lot of lands. Maybe I don't need this Ren. I found a way to spend this mana. Caracas, okay. Nimble Obstructionist. That is certainly a magic card that exists. Okay, so they're committing a factory. Let's see if they respect Dak. And they have to. They have Sapphire now that I can just steal. Everybody's coming at Dak. I could trade off with Factory, but I think I need this extra power in play. And Dak's dying either way, so this is kind of free to let this go. Alright. Alright. That's what we were looking for. And suddenly we went from way behind to way ahead. Didn't need that. They have Inspector. Okay. Now we have the wall up. Now it becomes a good idea to start leaving up Force of Will. Yeah, so I'm just gonna hold my ground, leave up Force. I'll bolt Foundry Inspector. Maybe I won't bolt it in the end step. Maybe that doesn't matter. I do need to play faster, though. I'm way behind on clock. Phyrexian Revoker. I don't think I care about that. I can just bolt it, like whatever they do. Sure. Maybe I just play Nimble Obstructionist as a flyer, but Stonecoil Serpent has reach, but I have Lightning Bolt, so I would be totally fine if they want to block and think I just fucked up. Alright, they sniffed out the Lightning Bolt. They've done this before. We're in speed mode now. Dak can just take the Foundry Inspector. I'm still holding up Force Will. I can pitch the Oko, it's turned off anyway. I like this Obstructionist as a 3-1. This is the best it's been in this league. I thought it was going to be sweet against Storm 2 rounds ago, but they worked their way through it, unfortunately. I think Brainstorm is the best card here. I think... No, I should not be attacking with Tarmogoyf. I could be attacking with Tarmogoyf and the Lightning Bolt. If they just block with everything, Lightning Bolt and Wasteland would make sure that they lose their whole board. I would lose Goyf too, but I think that might have been worth doing. I think I should leave up Wasteland too. Oh, if I had done this pre-combat and got in with Goyf, I think that would have been really good. Yeah, Goyf can start smashing next turn. The Wasteland and the Bolt will. I'm narrating and worrying about the clock instead of doing combat math, so, my bad. Do I care about this? I don't think so. I have 2 mana up, I can still force, I have a lot of lands. I think I can just attack with everything next turn. So I can put them to Hellbent if I DAC plus target them. Like they draw 1, then discard. Oh, yeah, they draw 1, then discard 2. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I just have good attacks here all around. The Lightning Bolt and Wasteland will do what they need to do. I'm going to let them go to blocks with the factories. Then I'll decide what to do about it from there. Because they can make one of the factories a 4/4, so I can like eat one of these for free. And I'm in the driver's seat here, so I can just pass priority. I'm pretty happy with all of these outcomes. Yeah, that should not come as a surprise. And then I can play my Mox and still hold up force. Right, yeah, they can attack and pick off Dak, but this Goyf is rumbling. Yeah, I don't care about that. Not while you're Hellbent. I wonder if they named Ruby. Alright, they just named deck. They could have named Ruby an attacked deck. Alright, that was a rowdy attack. So now if they block, it's going to set Dak free. But I guess they were just dead if I had Oko here. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not going to do this pre-combat, because that will affect the size of Tarmogoyf. Alright, so there are no fetch... Oh, Mystic Sanctuaries left in my deck. There is one fetchable land left, and it's a pretty good one. So I can fetch Mystic Sanctuary, put Bolt on top. Delve 2 extra for the spheres. And upstairs. Tarmogoyf! I make fun of Tarmogoyf a lot, but maybe I shouldn't. Alright, so Energy Flux, Oof Oof, Spree, Bolt, Misstep out, Probe out, Fluster out, Mindbreak Trap out, Pyroblast out. Wow, that sideboard's like butter. Just 7 fully dead cards, or 6 fully dead and 1 pretty bad card against shops for 7 good ones. Ooh. This hand is so close to being great. I'm going to keep it. I have double Tarmogoyf and a Mox and an Energy Flux. They have a lot of big... They have play this thing. What is this? Mystic Forge. That card's restricted. Alright, let's hope that's their whole load. Oh no, there's more. Revoker. Probably naming Black Lotus Blind. Dak Faden. Okay. So, if I draw any Mox or Lotus, and I jam this Energy Flux, I win the game immediately. And I'm just going to cast Tarmogoyf if I don't. I think getting Goyf in... The temptation to preordain for more lands is big, but they have Ancient Tomb and Mana Crypt. And getting this beater in, this is going to buy me a lot of time. It's going to suck if they strip mine me, though. Alright, that's not strip mine. That sucks, too. Fuck. That knocks out my Ruby, so Energy Flux is just miles away now. It's a little interesting what they do with this. Oh, just make a 4/4. That's a pretty good thing to do with that. Ooh, attacking is bold. This is until your next turn, right? Yeah, until your next turn. So they could have left that back on defense. Ravager is strong. Alright, drawing another land is pretty decent. I think I want to preordain here. I gotta find, like, a Shattering Spree or Bolt or something to move this forward. If I attack Karn, what happens? Alright, I can put an instant in the graveyard. I guess I should have attacked face. That was so bad. What am I even doing? They don't care about Karn. Yeah, they would have had to block if I attacked the face. So I can wait for their turn to Lightning Bolt. Alright, Mana Crypt. That's a good one. Yeah, Ravager sacking Mana Crypt means that maybe it was fine to attack Karn. Alright, if we don't get locked out this turn, we can jam Energy Flux and win. F6. Ugh, just clenching my cheeks here, seeing what they have for me. They are going to 5 life. Yeah, the Energy Flux, while Ancient Tomb is their mana source, Time of Life beating down, that's pretty serious. Oh no, they get to name Ruby. Hope I draw a land. Shit! I hope I draw Black Lotus. Alright, so I can draw Black Lotus or preordain into Black Lotus. That's really my best plan here. Bottom, top, I'll take a land. I can't really attack because they can just block Sack to Ravager. I might just be dead to Ravager regardless. So they attack, I block the 3, and I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. That's not so bad, but there's a lot of things they could string together to make it worse. Alright, so now I take 9. Alright, they just cast that for 0 off the top of the deck to untap Traxos. 9, that's 10. 11. Yeah, so I block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They can deal 11 right now. And most of their mana hurts them a lot. Alright. Land. Fuck! Alright, now we're dead to Traxos. I guess I can just cast this other Tomahawk. I think we're... Are we still dead? No, I can block Traxos. I block Traxos and Foundry Inspector. I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Taking 10. I'll save my Force of Will for something I can't beat. Taking 11. I guess if I force... At some point if I force, that puts me into lethal range. Alright, I think I'm just dead now. I hope they don't notice. Yeah, so that was a perfect shops. Okay. Perfect shops like textbook game where they just kept me just off. Like I had this energy flux the whole time, and it was like, okay, I'm going to cast it, revoke the ruby. Okay, I'm going to cast it, draw wasteland. So there was a lot of close calls there. We're on the play next round, which matters a lot. I also kept kind of a slow hand on the draw, but it was on the strength of energy flux, and their deck did what it was supposed to do to stop me. Alright, my opponent's going to have to do a lot of clicking to get through this combat phase, so I'm just going to let them do that. I'm not going to concede. Just for time considerations. And I want to see how they do this. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't even matter. Like, they don't even have to attack. They can just pile all their stuff onto Ballista. Turn 1 Mystic Forge. Remember when you could play 4 of this card? What a stupid time to be a vintage player. Yeah, it's going to take them some time to click through this. I think that was a weird attack, but I'm also sure it doesn't matter. Yeah, so they can dogpile onto Traxos and just trample me to death, or they can dogpile onto Ballista and just ping me to death. It's all good. Trying to think what I could have done differently that game. Like the turn I attacked Karn, I could have attacked face. Like I honestly didn't even consider their life total when I made that turn, but I think getting Karn out of play was important because it unlocked my ruby. I was just a step closer to fluxing. Oh wow, they piled onto Ballista. This is going to take a long time to click through. I'm not going to make you all watch that. I'll unpause when we're in sideboarding. Okay, they shot me with Ballista 13 times. Nothing changes about this configuration. I guess Tabernacle might have some application here, actually. Might be better than Nimble Obstructionist, because they do tend to go wide, and their like Workshop doesn't get through that. So I might want some Tabernacles. Or maybe one to dig for, but I don't think I have 2 cuts I want to make. I can put 1 in though. Yep, this looks good to me. Love to play first. Alright. We're going to keep this. This is a vintage hand. I'm not going to Ancestral now because I don't play a whole lot of fast mana, and I don't want to have to discard to hand size. And depending on what they do, will determine if I even need to Ancestral at all. Like if they just play... Okay. I will respond to that. Okay, so I can Force of Will this sphere, and I think I want to do that. And Dig Through Time is probably the pitch. The other 2 cards are like my best 2 cards in the matchup, so I don't want to chuck those right away. Oh wow. I'm not going to replicate it at all. Alright, let's hope that hurts. I would like to put this Tarmogoyf into play now. Alright. Wasteland. Fair play. Strip mine. I am protected. Oh, interesting. I think I just ran here. Definitely now that they just went ahead and popped off. There's no reason to do that there. Like, oh, I guess Gush. Alright, so they took me off of Gush and ended up getting absolutely punished by Ren. Alright, what's the payoff? Revoker. Alright, they can revoke Ren. And then I can... So I can Tarmogoyf or I can Time Walk into Energy Flux if I draw land right now. I think I want to Time Walk. Because the upside is pretty big. Bummer. Alright, that's actually a great draw, though. It wasn't Energy Flux, but it should still do me pretty good here. Someday I'll cast this Tarmogoyf, but right now I'm just killing my opponent, making sure they don't do anything. Alright, that'll do. And we have Force of Will. That's the game, folks. And Tarmogoyf will get it done quick from here. This feels so good to do to Shops, because this is what Shops is trying to do to you. And we just did it first. I've already cast Ancestral Recall this game, so... I'll get back this Volcanic Island. Yeah, Narset seems fine. Let's make sure we never lose our advantage here. 8 minutes is plenty of time for this Tarmogoyf to get the job done. If they do cast anything, I have Force, Dag, and Energy Flux to deal with it. Alright, so they've been saving up some surprise mana here. Chalice on 1. I don't care. That's just gives me an easy thing to pitch to Force of Will or Dak. I think I'll take Sapphire, actually. I'll take your Ruby. Smash. I'm going to get my land back, but I'm not going to play it because next turn I can make an emblem and cast bolts. I guess I could scroll for a second Force now as well. Yep, they are deceased here. Sure. Fleet Wheel Cruiser. You can cruise straight to the graveyard. And we did it. 3-1. 2-1 in matches played, but 3-1 on the scoreboard, so re-qualified again for the final. I can definitely see why people like this kind of deck. Despite the lack of explosive, like, PO or Storm or Shops kind of BS that you're capable of, it's still just, like, rock solid. We drew so many cards, we have so many answers. I was honestly impressed by Tarmogoyf. Genuinely impressed. That was the card I wanted to draw a lot of the time. So I still think using Black Lotus to cast Tarmogoyf is kind of a waste of the vintage experience, but if you're just there to win the tournament, this type of deck is the perfectly reasonable thing to do, and I have no shade, no disrespect for anyone who does it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to catch the rest of the GenCon series. There's a bunch of Legacy and a bunch of Vintage. Check it out. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.